G'day, welcome everybody. Great to have you on board with us today. And we're back with another session of Markham's webinars, the Preconstruction Advantage with Markham. And if you just give me a fraction of a moment, I'll share the slide deck. We're trying not to kill you with slide deck. We've kept it fairly short. So, introduction, housekeeping. For those of you who've been with us before, you may have met Christine and Alex, and they'll introduce themselves as we go along. You'll find the Q&A and comments buttons in the bottom of the toolbar on your window there. And we've got a question that you'd like you to think about. And if you want to drop an answer straight into the comments now while we're proceeding, what's a key challenge for you in the pre-construction phase of a project? So the agenda today revolves around three topics in the pre-construction phase of any project that you've worked on: the risk transfer and simplification, value engineering and support, and design and documentation assistance. Without further ado, let's take it away. Alex, tell the folks about yourself and get into it.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining today in today's webinar. Alex Portelli here from the Australian office. I cover off all Australian states and territories as the design and specifications manager, as well as working in the business development phase for the company as well. Thanks for coming on board again. Love to jump straight into it. So firstly, I want to sort of open with a bit of a question for everybody on this chat at the moment, and it's, what does it look like to work with a company that actually manufactures, designs, installs, and warrants their systems in the market? It'd be great to get some feedback on that as we go through. So basically, what we're looking to do, risk transfer and simplification, basically, is getting in nice and early into projects, be it with structural engineers, architects, DNC design teams, during an ECI process as well. Therefore, what we can do is really look at those expectations that are needed for the project moving forward and work out how we can build them into the constructability of the project sort of holistically. We want to be able to provide performance solutions right at that design phase, and then make sure that they're able to be implemented right the way through the delivery process, and then aftercare as well, warranty-wise, so on and so forth. A lot of that is to do with minimizing exposure with a single source warranty. So as I mentioned, that importance of working with somebody who not only manufactures but designs their systems specifically into key parts of a project, therefore is truly able to back what they've put forward with a substantial warranty. What that does for the industry is minimizes a lot of that finger pointing that can happen when a product is selected, it's implemented by a subcontractor. That subcontractor, might not have followed the TDS to the dot. Issue occurs, and then the finger pointing starts, and nobody's there to accept responsibility, basically. Markham are able to reduce that right the way throughout, which is why it's important to get in nice and early and make sure that what's put forward is actually going to meet those requirements. Coordination is another part that we're trying to reduce headaches on. Less moving parts, working with the manufacturer who's designed it, who has their own operations team that deals directly with site, able to lock in when we're going to come to site, all the logistics of everything, really makes it a seamless process, right the way throughout for the end user, the builder during the construction phase, and then still touching base with the architects and structural engineers right the way throughout, so that there's no surprises during that important phase of the project. Got anything to add to that, Christine?
No, I think you covered it off well, Alex. I'll jump into the next one and introduce myself.
Perfect.
Awesome. And so I am the New Zealand counterpart to Alex. So over the last 8 or so years have been working on the design side at Markham. So working primarily with architects and engineers. Through that, council submission phase. But as the market over here is evolving and moving towards more of a design build kind of market, expanding more into the design side of major construction companies. So sort of moving right across that band, and then collaborating with the further team members at Markham as well at the on coalface end. So yeah, in terms of that, this project here is one of my favorites, even though it's an Aussie one and I wasn't involved. It was happening as I was just coming into Markham, but of course every project is unique, but this one was specifically one that stands out because of this little heritage building that you can see to the left that was propped up and surrounded by a new massive development. So there was a lot of special consideration for this one, and it was a really cool one to see come together. We were involved in the basement waterproofing for that and the ceiling for the aged care floors, and it was critical to get all of the components right to make sure that communication was happening and that all parties were happy and that heritage building was protected in the middle. So yeah, that's one that stands out for me. Have you got any further info on this one, Alex, being an Aussie guy?
A little bit. There was some value engineering properties, more so for the concrete placement team. The products that we were able to utilize in this project actually helped them with being able to minimize the wear and tear on their pumping machines, which was helpful. It's just another bonus or benefit to the Markham products and systems, showcasing that it's not just the builder that benefits or the asset owner. It's almost everybody can benefit from the Markham system at some point within the project.
Yeah, I think we got that feedback from the places. I remember they were saying it significantly reduced their pump pressure.
Yep, bingo.
Cool. Awesome. Next slide, Brendo. So
value engineering. I see two parts to this. There's the initial value engineering part where Markham are involved from the outset and are putting forth already value engineered systems. For an example, within the product selection for an expectation, there could be up to 5 characteristics that the one product is able to produce at the beginning of a project that minimizes the need to do 5 different things throughout the process, while then still being compatible at the back end for flooring, for example. The other side of value engineering, from my perspective, is when there is a set of documentation already out there. Some initial pricing has been done without the inclusion of the Markham system, and then how we can positively value engineer that single product potentially to save on those 5 characteristics for that particular client. So to me, there's sort of 2 sides to the story. If we're involved extremely early from the outset, anything that we put forth is already a value engineered system and should be viewed at that sort of tender estimating stage, and can be explored more deeply with that builder. Or, as I mentioned, in the latter part, if they're not included, we can then value engineer them into that as well. So in that process, what we've done is we've worked with cost consultants in the past. We've worked directly with estimating teams at particular building firms. And what we do is we really break it down and understand what the end result needs to be. And then we would insert the correct system or product to produce that value engineering for the client, asset owner, and then everybody involved, basically. That's all I've really got to say on that one. We'll go to the next slide.
Just another question has come in from Robert. Did you want to discuss that now, Christine? I think it relates to the project that we were just looking at.
Sorry, I was looking at the chat and looking for a question.
Oh, yes, so was I.
It's in the Q&A.
Oh, for the rosewood?
Let's go back to that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of that one, our products were utilised in the concrete going across the face of that.
Correct.
Such as visible on the right side there.
Yeah, so you've got piling to the left.
Finished product to the right.
Yeah.
So just a small case study to discuss. This is a 20+ year old project. What you can see there is a treated versus untreated concrete slab with the Markham system. The left-hand side with the white line is the untreated version. The right-hand side is a treated version. As you can see, that there is just a concrete pour from internal warehouse to external concrete. The same trucks, forklifts, etc., have been driving across both slabs for the same period of time. And it's just going to show the deterioration on the external parts of the concrete versus the robustness of what the system can produce long term on the left-hand side. So just a little bit of an indicator there based around the long-term durability and benefits that you can gain from utilising the correct products and designing the correct products in early to get those achievements moving forward.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things to add on that one. I think you said left-hand side treated in the last sentence, but it's the right-hand side treated, just to be clear. Yeah. Just mixing up your left and right. And so that dense surface on the right. And also what we're talking about here, obviously, is beneficial for an asset owner, but it's also not going to break the bank at construction phase either. This is not a two-part epoxy that's going to be massive amounts per square meter. It's a relatively cost-effective treatment that's done once, and then in terms of being able to communicate to an asset owner, that's not going to be needing to be reapplied ever. So you're going to get that durability, but without having to maintain it. So you can see they're going to have to maintain the line marking, but they're not going to have to maintain the durability treatment. So yeah, really cost-effective in terms of a long-term asset.
Nice.
And Robert's question again, water stops at the joints, correct? Yes. Back in the rosewood. Oh, do you mean this one?
No, I think that was for the retainer pier walling, has the Markham system. Oh, and the joints.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it could be either.
Definitely waterproofing joints in the basement, waterproofing system.
In the rosewood one, yes. And this one.
I don't think it was relevant to the warehouse.
No.
So,
no, not necessarily for slab on ground.
But thanks for the questions. We appreciate that. Keep them coming in.
David's actually asked a really good question for the mining industry and durability. Yeah, absolutely right. The exposure from environment on the concrete substrates varies quite heavily. Usually it's quite hypersaline. Some cases we've seen sort of 10 times the salinity of seawater is what the concrete substrates are washed down with, which can obviously cause detrimental effects to the concrete moving forward. To answer the question from a technical consultative point of view, yeah, adequate support and technical data is something that we are happy to provide so that the clients or the concrete manufacturer or supplier understand what it is that the Markham systems are doing. When it comes to modifying client concrete, there's not any real resistance from the colloidal silicas that we use. Anything and everything that we do only benefits the overall concrete mix, if you will. We have got a lot of case studies in the mining sector as well that we'd be more than happy to share with yourself, David, and whomever else is interested. But the other beauty of working with Markham is that we have the availability to meet client expectations with certain admixtures, and that's what we're quite heavily doing in the market at the moment, is being able to modify our own products to suit client needs for what they're experiencing. So definitely something that we'd be happy to dive into a little more, and I can put you in contact with our technical development manager if that would suit you.
Yeah, in terms of that, David, in as far as taking some time to show effectiveness, we do have a couple of case studies in really harsh environments, including one in a mining environment where there's sulfuric acid dripping on top of a slab at Markham mine, which we can send you a case study for. We reduced that concrete attack down from, they were having to replace that concrete slab every 18 months to now it's going on 6, maybe going on 7 years without needing to be replaced. And that's got the hydrogel admixture and spray treated products on it from day one. And that concrete is exposed to that dripping acid from the get-go, from day one. So that's a really good example of that. I'll get Brendo, can you note to send that through? That would be awesome. And we do have a full-time R&D technical guy as well at Markham, and so he is working, he's worked with a lot of mining contacts, so he's got significant technical data that we can share with that. So yeah, keen to chat.
Awesome. And just back to the slab example, what products are in concrete? Is that for the example on the presentation?
For this one?
I think so. If so, that's spray applied hydrogel products, typically installed at the curing phase of the project, deeply penetrating up to 150 mil, giving really good coverage to that concrete slab, and working as one is what was utilised on that particular slide deck picture. Hopefully that answered your question there, David.
Awesome. Next one. So for that previous warehouse, no, that was just the spray applied system. So in terms of the durability of that slab, just the spray applied hydrogel. In terms of concrete mix design for that one, both were the same. So you've got that comparison side by side.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Presuming we're talking about that and not the mining one. So yeah, in terms of moving into the design and documentation side, as I said, Alex and I have specialized in that design phase, and we've both got significant experience working with architects, making sure we're collating the documentation that they need for council submission. And as I mentioned earlier as well, that's streamlining throughout the process. So we don't just have just us in design, we've got people who then install as well at the other end. In fact, I often in early meetings with specifically for waterproofing, I'll bring in our operations manager who has got a very good grasp of on-site reality. We can obviously, you can say, hey, that looks great on a drawing, but that's not how it's going to be on site. And so being able to have that end-to-end knowledge, sorry, I'm just plugging in a charger, being able to have that knowledge and the access to somebody who's going to give you exactly how that's going to come together rather than just how it looks on a neat drawing is invaluable, I find, to be able to avoid designing in something that's going to be impractical or unworkable, and having that collaboration from our whole team where we do work closely together, and we all hand on and stay involved as the project moves forward is really high value in terms of not having one hand not talking to the other, and being able to collaborate and come up with something so we don't waste time in reversing things and swapping things out.
Totally agree with you on that there, Christine. That really comes full circle back to working with someone who's manufacturing, designing, installing, and then warranting is really solidifying that across the board and just, going beyond reproach, really.
In terms of that as well, I think something that sets us apart is our willingness to evolve. And so if there's something that at the documentation phase or at the council submission phase that you're like, actually it would be really helpful if you could provide us this. Obviously, sometimes those processes like getting appraisals and things can take a long time, but we're willing to take on that feedback and go, okay, if that's going to make a difference, then we'll look into that. And often we'll come through with a completed document or a completed appraisal that's going to be helpful for you at that end.
Correct.
Do you want to jump through to the next one, Brenda? I think it's the OJI. Another specific, a very specific approach to a project. This one for New Zealand is a large scale warehouse. It's about 30,000 squares in Christchurch. And the client was directing how they would like that concrete slab to appear as they were moving throughout the construction process. So there was a really high spec requirement on that concrete slab. That sheen isn't the finish, that was as it was just treated, and so that's still wet, but it's a really striking photograph. But moving through the phases, through me, through to colleague Lockie at the main contractor handling side, and then through to our install team who were involved spray treating, installing, curing blankets, uplifting, and then we actually had a guy who was there most days throughout the concrete placing process. He was just scrubbing the floor to keep construction debris off it. And so, I mean, with a large scale development like that, that was the service level that was required. And so being able to offer that bespoke service was really awesome for the client. They were really happy with the result. And we've got another question that I can't see.
Yeah,
oh,
I'm just going to see if we can
yes, it was correct. And Peter's typing.
Open to questions, and be very glad if you keep chipping in there.
Yeah,
thank you, Robert, for your comment. That's good.
Yeah, I agree with Robert there. And then we've got one back in the chat.
Cost roughly per square metre. That is going to, it'll differ depending on what it is that you're looking at. Obviously things are very project specific, but say for that large scale warehouse, for the durability treatment that lasted and still going for 20 plus years now, that would be in New Zealand. Alex would be able to answer Aussie if it's different, but roughly in the $5-6 a square meter range. So we're not talking $50 a square meter. And something in terms of high-end treatment, including the product as well for a mining environment, just for the spray treatment, that'd be up in the depends again on project and requirement and access, and we've got to factor in all of those things as well. But yeah, heading up to more sort of 20
plus, yeah.
30. Yeah.
Very, very project and site specific will be determining what the cost per square meter is. It also depends on the particular product used as well. So for example, in that large warehouse area, I've had clients who opt for a slightly different product to meet certain requirements within the warehouse space. So instead of just a curing, sealing, densifying product, they want something that will cure, seal, densify, but also protect against chloride ingress or acid ingress, you know, in a battery management facility or something like that. So that there, the product selection will determine the square meter rate as well. So it really does depend. It is project specific. Best way to sort of work out what's required is get in early with us, and then we can provide the pricing proposals for both supply and install, supply only, and that gives you a couple of variations that you can go with while still achieving those high quality permanent applications with the product.
And David's question there, the warehouse slab, no, it didn't have one of our admixtures in it and a surface treatment, but that mining project that I was referring to that Brendan's going to send through, something like that will, or say waterproofing if it's required for hydrostatic, to resist hydrostatic pressure, then we'd do both. Or I've got a couple of enviro waste projects in New Zealand at the moment where we'd do both. It really depends, as Alex was saying, project specific as to what the demands are, and what the requirements are and what's going to happen with that concrete. So we're not going to prescribe a one size fits all. That's getting back into that value engineering conversation again. We're not going to recommend something that you don't need for your project.
There you go. And more importantly on that too, being quite risk adverse as well, we're actually not afraid to offer a belts and braces approach if we believe that's what the project requires. As I said, you can't really solve all the world's problems all at once. So if that is a requirement based off of end expectation, we may be suggestive of working with other elements or products in order to be able to meet that expectation. That's one thing that I am quite passionate about, is requirement versus expectation. Something can be required, but then you're expecting it to perform a certain way, and that's not going to meet the requirement. So it's a very thin line to sort of tread, but that's what we enjoy doing. That's why we come to work every day, is by able to being able to provide that level of care and expectation from our end to be able to pass on to your clients and builders and so on and so forth.
And Peter's just asking, is the product for durability or also for waterproofing? The answer is yes. So we haven't got into our sort of technical side of the product in this webinar. We do have one specifically for durability only, and that's going to start at the lower end, and then all of our products are based on colloidal silica, and what that does is that responds to the free limes in the concrete, forms a hydrogel, blocks the porosities, and increases more CSH in the concrete. So you're getting more of the good stuff, more bonds happening within that concrete. So that densifies it, provides durability. But also the main attack for concrete, anything that's attacking this structural steel within the concrete, it's all coming through on moisture. So the higher up we go in terms of waterproofing, also the more durable that concrete's going to be. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. It's like a yes and.
Did you want to slip in a comment there, Christine, about the top-ticked deck waterproofing system as a holistic system?
Yes, sorry, I missed it. I was just answering that bit. And yes, we do. Alex is again at the top-ticked system. So yeah, as well as waterproofing below ground, we can utilize the same technology to waterproof car park roof decks, depending on construction and what you're trying to achieve there. But then you've got a completely UV stable system for the top. It doesn't wear out with traffic. It's the concrete becomes the barrier.
Correct. And then David's question regarding spillage material cleanup, front end loader, basically wear resistance on the slabs. There have been abrasion tests done to and for the products. Obviously, as you can appreciate, a front end loader, with a metal bucket can be quite destructive to a concrete substrate. What we have seen in the past is that we've treated both a structural slab, and then there are elements, or there are clients out there who will do a sacrificial sort of wear slab that they periodically will replace or patch if necessary. So there's a few ways to sort of look at that. Overall, to answer your question, yes, there have been wear resistance tests done, and we can send some details through around that as well.
Yeah, we've got some anecdotal evidence or field studies as well in terms of that. So locally, fertilizer storage units where they do have front-end loaders scraping up the fertilizer. Fertilizer's harsh on concrete, as well as the loaders doing that, and local heavy machinery, so earthworks machinery with not tires. What are the things called? Tracks.
Track, yeah.
Is that what they're called? Yeah. So yeah, just metal tracks turning, rotating on that slab, and that's wearing really well. And that is well prior to me starting here. So I think it's about 15 years old now. David's needing all your case studies, Brendan.
That might be a wee transfer, I think.
Just send you a link to our Dropbox.
To the free library.
Peter's got something else coming through. It's good. And there's another one on the questions tab as well.
Oh, yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that performance solutions are no longer required. We still see that quite prevalent in the market. I guess it really depends around the building surveyor and what they've asked for, and moving forward. So there's still performance solutions are still definitely happening out there. I wouldn't say that there's no longer a requirement at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree there, Peter. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that speaks to what you were saying earlier about coming in at the whole point of coming in at design phase.
Yeah, that's correct. Are you New Zealand or Australia, Peter? Is that interest? Cool.
Okay, perfect.
That's a you one, Christine. Easy.
Yeah.
Very good.
Right.
If there is no more questions for the time being, we will send out the contact details for both Alex and Christine in the follow-up email. So do be free to reach out with your project specifics. And as we've mentioned, there'll be a link for we'll put in the Markham mine example. We'll put in a link for the videos to the case studies for OJI and the warehouse. So you will find those interesting, I think, actual on-site view. And anything else we should be coming off, Alex and Christine?
I think that's pretty much it for now. Peter's, oh yeah, no worries, Peter.
No problem.
Happy to help.
Awesome.
That's good. The level of interaction's been excellent. Very much appreciate everybody's joining into the conversation.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Great.
All the best, guys.
See you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Markham, adding life to concrete.